This is Zash Raymond, and you are listening to the Fulham Focus podcast.
Fulham.
Hello, welcome to the Fulham Focus podcast. My name's Matt Boisclair, and the Whites are back up and running in the Championship following Saturday's victory over Blackburn Rovers at the Cottage. An absolute peach of a strike from Tom Cairney in the first half, and a tap-in by that man Matto towards the closing stages of the game gave us our first 3 points of the season, and it's a lovely feeling coming home with 3 points. If you thought you were confused about what formation the Whites were playing when Bobby Reid came on for Steph Joe on Saturday, then you don't even know the meaning of the word confused. Check this out. Thanks to Zesh Raymond for opening the show. Zesh came through our academy and made his first team debut in 2003, aged 19 years old. He was the first British Asian to play in the Premier League, the first to play in all 4 divisions, and the first Pakistani international to play in England, accolades that he should be very proud of. You can read Raymond's Q&A looking back at those achievements and his time at Fulham on our website, fulhamfocus.com. Zesh Raymond, we salute you. Joining me today is the man responsible for all the Focus video content you see on social media, Matt Lampett, and the one and only Statto Matto, Matt Arthur. 3 Matts, and that's not Cockney rhyming slang. Confused? You should be, and we've not even started yet. Matt Lampett, I refuse to give you the obvious nickname of Lamps, but how did you find the game on Saturday? Did you enjoy it?
Oh, it was a lovely game. It is, I'm here in the States, so I woke up and planned it all day, wore the kit, and just got ready to go, and just enjoyable results. Really interesting because I'm watching on FFC TV, the new setup with that and everything, and there's a new camera because of the work being done on the Riverside. Yeah. So yeah, it's just enjoyable, start. Every time we score, my kids run and give me a high five. So couldn't
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. And how was it watching on FFC TV? How was Gentleman Jim and Jamie?
It was brilliant. Yeah, it sounded great. I feel like the quality's improved. The stream quality, I mean, back when I started watching them, there really wasn't there, but now it sounds great. And Jim and Jamie, the best to listen to. And, the quality was good. I know it was they're kind of working out the kinks still because I think the stream went down and I freaked out for a little bit there, but it came back.
That's the last thing you need. Yeah. You do not want that. Okay, great stuff. And Matt Arthur, did you enjoy the game? And, I mean, the lineup. Your namesake, Harry Arthur, made his debut. Tim Ream was back in the back 4. Dennis Adoy at right back.
Yep.
Lockhart was in for AK-47. And then you had the 2 Reeds on the bench. How did you feel about that? Did you think that it was the right lineup?
It was the lineup I was expecting, to be honest. There was compared to last week, like you said, Arthur came in for K-Mac, and we had AK-27 coming for AK-47. And really, I think it was a more balanced team than what it was last week. We'll come on to Arthur in a minute because he was fantastic yesterday. But I think he was just a more well-rounded team than what it was last week.
Yeah. And what about you, Matt Lampett? Did you think that it was the right lineup, or did you think maybe K-Mac was unlucky to be dropped?
Yeah, so I did the opposition focus this week, and I got everybody right except I put Christie in place of Adoy. So I felt like it was the right lineup. It's what we wanted to see. It's what we saw against Barnsley. We saw Knockaert taking on players, and he basically picked up where he left off. And then, I feel like I was curious of what the formation was. It looked like a 4-3-3 to a 4-2-3-1, but in all honesty, it could have been 4-1-4-1 for all I know. But it didn't matter at the end of the day. It was pretty brilliant.
Yeah. Something that struck me actually was there were some good performances from. Well, the team played well, and there was everybody had a good game pretty much, but. It struck me that players like Johansson, Tom Cairney, Tim Ream, they all struggled last season in the Premier League, but they all looked right at home again yesterday. And Tim Ream was back to his usual self that we came to know in the Championship. Just makes me think: are these players just always going to be really good Championship players, but always going to struggle at a higher level if we ever get there again? What do you think, Statto?
I think for Tim Ream, he's 33 now, I think. So he's getting on a bit, and I think the Championship is very much his level, but he's really good at that level, let's be honest. And I think that the Premier League is probably just a step too far for him. Similarly with Steph Joe, I think that his technical ability maybe isn't up to Premier League standards. But again, in the Championship, he can perform quite well and quite adequately. Tom Kearney, however, I think last year he did get, a bit harshly treated. He was paid out of position, wasn't paid at all. So, I think he definitely is a Premier League quality player. He just didn't get to showcase it as much as he could have done last year. So coming back down to the Championship and, scoring worldies and, playing a great game, I think that's just pretty standard TC for us now.
Yeah. And just going back to the defence as well, maybe our defensive situation isn't as bad as everybody made out that it was, but because we haven't signed any players. We do have some players who are proven at this level. We've got Ream and Alfie Mawson as well, who, if we can keep him fit, maybe our defence isn't actually that bad. What do you think, Matt Lampett?
Yeah, I feel like, when we were looking at defenders, and, I definitely wanted to sign somebody just for the sake of, for us to kind of just make that happen and just have a new defender, because everybody knows we want a center back, but at the same time, Ream was our player of the season, in our promo season. And so I feel like he would be adequate. And like Statto said, he's pretty much, at that level, that Championship level. He's been there for a number of years. He's gone through the balance of adjusting to that league, from playing left back to playing left center back and finding his home. He's getting up there in age, but I feel like him and Mawson, I saw a couple times in the match, they just started like high-fiving each other. So there's a real chemistry that's being built there, and having Arter right in front of them both is really going to pay dividends in the end of the day.
Yeah, we're go on. Sorry, Matt.
I was going to say, I would agree with that notion. And with Ream particularly, it's all very odd. People forget that he was indeed our player of the year 2 seasons ago, and then he had some weird, mysterious back injury, and then he just, in the Premier League, he was just a completely different player. So it's kind of nice to see him back, as the player that we knew when we got promoted. And, like to have Mawson rather than Adoy or Callas next to him, it's not that bad, is it? I think they're just lacking confidence a bit. And, I think that confidence will come the more games they play together.
Yeah, they've got to get to know each other a bit better, because I don't know how many games they played together last season, but if that's going to be our first choice pairing, then they'll get to know each other's game pretty quickly. That being said, yesterday, the start of the game was almost the worst possible start, because we were almost behind within like 20 seconds, I think, Matt Lampett.
Oh, I know. It was just how it happened. It's just a push out to the right side. Brian was overloaded on that side. I didn't see Cav drop back. I think Johansson was dropping back. And then, of course, opposite side, back post. And, on that exact moment, because I was already hesitant with the Adoy in general, just because of last year and kind of how he's makes some odd brain fleeting decisions. He ducked on the header instead of jumping forward and trying to head it away. I was confused again, and then of course the player behind him headed the ball almost into the goal. So that was that. My heart skipped a beat on that one.
Yeah, I think we all joined you on that one for sure. But we grew into the game, and we started playing some nice short passes, quick passes. There was a lot of passing around at the back, and there's a new rule in the not in the Premier League, just in football this season, where the ball doesn't have to go out of the penalty area from a goal kick, so defenders can come and get the ball off the goalkeeper within the area. And we used that quite a bit yesterday. It does make me worry a little bit about making defensive mistakes and giving the ball away in that area, but generally, I think we're starting to see Scott Parker put his own stamp on this team now. What do you think, Statto?
Yeah, definitely. The new rule change is quite interesting. I experienced it myself this morning. Actually, I've had a Sunday League game and I'm a goalkeeper, and suddenly my centre-back was coming towards me. And obviously Sunday League is very unorganised, but, for a professional team like Fulham, you can see that they, had drills and they've been training on playing it out from the back like that. And I think that's kind of the way that Parker would like to play. Compared to, what it was like under Slav, Slav ball was, very nice and slick. And I think some of that has been taken out a bit by Parker. I think he wants a more industrial, workman-like team, and that comes at an expense of playing this lovely football. But, maybe that's what we needed. Maybe that's what we need a bit more, especially in the Championship.
Yeah, it certainly looks like as well that we're looking to play passes quickly out wide and pick out Knockaert and Caballero to try and feed the ball into Mitrovic. How did you feel the wingers did, Matt Lampett? Did you think they had a good game? Personally, I thought Knockaert was excellent. Caballero, not as brilliant, kind of quite quiet, but Knockaert certainly really set the standard for me.
I agree 100%. Knockaert just scares the living daylights out of you, running at you. I can't, that left foot, he's going to his left side, but then he'll cut and he'll wrong foot you. I don't know how he does it. It just keeps the ball so close, and he should have bagged, I think, one or two. He had one in the first half and then one in the second half, and you can see he's so passionate and so direct. I think we've needed that for a long time on that right flank. I know usually we have, we had AK-47 last week, but with AK, sometimes you just worry about like if he can even control the ball long enough to take on a player. But with AK, or with Knockaert, he really does knock it about very beautifully. And what I also like about him too, and I didn't know too much about this originally, but his defensive work rate is outstanding. In terms of Caballero, I think he's still getting into the swing of things. I think he did drop back, but I don't think he helped O'Brien enough in enough occasions. I don't know if Parker has that set up that way for him to stay higher and make Steph Joe drop back, but there are times in which I think he got to have some tight situations, but I don't think we've seen the best from him just yet. But I feel like we have to kind of keep sending him up and keep seeing what he's capable of. Yeah,
I really felt like Knockaert deserved the goal as well. I thought he was going to get one. He's got this insatiable enthusiasm as well, and not only is he constantly chasing lost causes and running at players and cutting back and trying to find angles for passes and for shots, but there was a moment yesterday where I think we had a corner at the Hammersmith end because we were shooting towards the Hammersmith end in the first half, which is alarm bells are always ringing when that happens. But he kind of got the ball and ran towards the corner, and then he looked over at the Hammersmith end and waved his arms. It's like, come on! So, he's definitely going to be a real fan's favourite this season.
I would definitely agree with that. And if we just compare it to, when we got promoted last year, about this point last year, I think we were probably starting with Shea Ojo and Cabano out on the wings. And to now have, players like Caballero and Knockaert, that's just a big improvement, isn't it? It's just a lot. I just feel like we're in a much better position attacking wise than what we were 2 years ago in the Championship.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Okay, so let's come on to the first goal then. Fantastic strike from Kearney. Arter held off his man and kind of flipped the ball to Kearney, and Kearney just had the freedom of Craven Cottage. And, okay, he picked out a perfect shot and it curled away from the goalkeeper straight into the top corner, but I don't think we score that goal in the Premier League because he just wouldn't have been left unmarked. So just goes to show the difference in quality, which everybody knows about between the Championship and the Premier League. But I think that was the first time we were the beneficiaries of it this season.
Yeah, I think we were. And I think you're right. It does go to show the difference in the Premier League and the Championship. In the Premier League, either Arter doesn't get the space to turn and play the pass to Kearney, or Kearney doesn't get the space to, take that shot and, it wouldn't go in. A team like Blackburn, they're just a solid Championship team. And, I think this is what we're going to be coming up against a lot more. And, if we compare like we did yesterday, I think that, we're always going to be the team that always, has that slight bit of extra quality that the other team doesn't have.
Yeah, absolutely. And for you, Matt Lampett, is that Tom Kearney's best goal to date?
Oh man, that's up there in terms of distance. Still have to say Leeds at home is probably the most iconic, of course Wembley, but yeah, from at home, it was pretty incredible strike. And I agree with what Statto said. It's like you play against Blackburn, and the thing is they were pretty high pressure from the get go. I mean, that's Mitro, he's got bruises, from Adarabioyo and Williams, I'm sure, but they let off for just a little bit there. Let Arter spin away and pass the ball to to Kearney, and he has time to set up his strike, and it's a brilliant strike. But, they let up for just a little bit, and that was enough that we needed to kind of prove that quality.
Yeah. So fantastic goals to mark our return at the Craven Cottage to the Championship for sure. So then the second half, we kind of rallied a bit. There was a good chance for knockout. He made for himself. He put one over the bar. Then, of course, the second goal came with about 10 minutes of the game left when Joe Bryan, of all people, burst into the penalty area, squared the ball, and Mitrovic tapped home. Again, I don't think we scored that goal in the Premier League, but I guess we have to forget about the Premier League because we're not there anymore, and we just have to appreciate the goals when we get them. Great to see the big man get off the mark so early. Statto?
Yeah, it was great to see Mitro finally score. I can't remember when his last goal was, to be honest.
Bournemouth. It would have been Bournemouth away, I think.
Bournemouth away. Which,
PK.
Yeah, of course, the penalty. I think he needed to get that goal as well, just to get him off the mark. And I think that, obviously, we've got new signings coming in, like Bobby Reid, who, if Mitro doesn't score after a few games, people might be calling for Mitro to get dropped for Reid, which, won't happen now. And I think Mitro will just go from strength to strength now, and I can see the goals coming a lot now from Mitro, to be honest.
Well, how about a prediction? How many do you think he's going to get this season?
25.
Yeah, that's the magic number I had in my mind as well. What about you, Matt Lampett? How many goals for Mitro?
Mitro, the way he's striking, I mean, he is a target, that is for sure. But when he gets in the box, there's, he can do no wrong. So, yeah, I'd agree. I'm going to say 25 as well. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, he almost scored a fantastic own goal yesterday at the Putney end in the first half. Quite know what was going on then. If that had flown in,
he's covering for Adoy on that one.
Yeah, that's right.
I saw the replay. He was covering for Adoy, lost his man out of nowhere, and Mitro cleared it away with his left foot, and he turns around and I thought he was going to hit Adoy.
Yeah,
he was so mad.
Yeah, wouldn't
Penny for Adoy's thoughts.
Yeah. So 25 for Mitrovic. Do you think anybody in the squad is capable of challenging him to be top scorer this season, or do you think it's just written in the stars for Mitro that he'll be our top scorer this season?
I would expect Mitro to be top scorer without a doubt. But other players like Bobby Reid, like Kearney, like Knockhart, I wouldn't be surprised if one or two of them got into double figures, like the 10 to 15 range.
Yeah.
Abbott, AK-47, he might pop up with a few, depends how he's feeling, but...
Well, he's nowhere near the squad for me at the moment. We'll come on to AK-47 in a minute. Talking of Bobby Reid, though, when he came on, I could not for the life of me work out what formation we were playing or where he was playing. It looked like he came on, because he came on for Stefan Johansson with about half an hour to go. It looked like he came on and played in central midfield for a bit. And then Harrison Reed came on for Caballero with about 10 minutes to go, and Bobby Reid went to play on the right at the front three. Then Maxime Lemarchand came on for Knockhart with 5 or 6 minutes left. Was that a switch to 5-3-2? I've no idea. It was quite confusing. Matt Lampett, enlighten me. What was going on?
Yeah, so as soon as Statto came off, it looked like Reed basically sat right behind Mitro, and Kearney dropped back a bit, from what I could tell. So basically they're playing just right off each other. And then Knockhart and Cav on the opposite sides of Reed. But I think you're right. I think when Lemarchand came on, I think it became a 5-3-2, because I think we played Reed and Mitro up top.
It was a bit of a weird change for Parker to make, considering we were 1-0 up at the time, and then just throwing another striker for Steph Joe. I mean, it worked. Hey, we won the match. It's all good. But yeah, it was just a bit of a weird one, to be honest.
So Harry Arter made his debut. He's coming for Kevin McDonald. Do you think that Harry Arter is now the defensive midfielder, first choice defensive midfielder in this team, or do you think Harrison Reed will take over that role? Certainly looks like Kevin McDonald is going to be more of a bit part player this season. What do you think, Matt Arter?
Well, I think it's a bit much to say that K-Mac will be a bit part player. Has only been 2 games in, but obviously of being dropped for a new signing straight away isn't a good sign for K-Mac. We all love K-Mac, but he's getting on a bit now, and he's not as quick as he once was. He's a great, defensive player to bring on towards the end of the game. Between Arter and Reed, I think Arter probably has that little bit more. We haven't seen much of Reed yet, but from looking up his stats and everything, he likes to put a tackle in, and he's probably a bit less technically gifted than Arter. I think long term, I wouldn't mind seeing both of them in the lineup together with Kearney in front of them, with maybe Steph Joe coming off the bench every now and then.
Yeah. Well, the first thing that struck me, I know Harry Arter had an excellent game yesterday, potentially man of the match, certainly a contender. But the first thing that struck me, and I think I posted it to you guys in the WhatsApp group, was: is it potentially something that could, in the longer term, unsettle the squad, having the manager's brother-in-law as one of the first team players? Because imagine there's a problem within the team and the players want to talk about it. You've potentially got somebody who would just go and report back to the manager. What do you think, Matt Lampert? Do you think that's a non-issue, or do you think it could be an issue at some point?
I'm not sure. I feel like I have trust in Parker's team. I feel like we experienced so much drama last season that maybe that was the worst of it. And I think that all that drama and, of course, relegation brought a lot of the players who are still on closer together. And I think you're going to see a lot more camaraderie overall. Like, I don't think you're going to have like the decision by Ream or something like that. Interviewing with Sky Sports or anything. I don't think there'll be that. I don't think Parker will allow that. And I think that was what was missing last season, is that there was just no off the field camaraderie as tight as I think it's a lot tighter now. So I don't believe it'll be an issue, but if it does, it'll definitely be awkward. But I feel like we've got some strong enough personalities there that kind of know, to approach it with professionalism. Arter seems very professional. It seems, kind of get the work done, get the job done. And, I think that'll kind of resonate a little bit more within the team.
Okay. The only other thing I wanted to touch upon before we go to the quiz is AK-47 was completely dropped out the squad. And I've kind of had in my head, I thought we're going to have quite an attacking bench this season. But when I looked at it yesterday, aside from Bobby Reed, it wasn't overwhelmingly attacking. And I think it was you, Statto, that said, do we need both Kevin McDonald and Harrison Reed on the bench with Harry Arter on the pitch? Is there a need for two defensive midfielders on the bench?
Yeah, so, when I saw the starting lineup, we had Steph Joe, we had Arter in midfield with Kearney, and then, in the subs, like you said, we had Reed and K-Mac. And assuming that K-Mac and Reed will play similar roles this year, did we really need both of them on the bench? I don't think we did. Or, alternatively, Harrison Reed can apparently play right back. So do we need both him and Cyrus Christie on the pitch, on the bench, sorry. And you can see what Parker was going for. He wanted two defensive subs, two midfield subs, and two attacking subs. But, you look at the attacking subs we had Bobby Reed and Floyd Aite. It would have been nice to have an extra option, have the Cabano on the bench or AK-47. So it was a bit of an odd one. And personally, I would have loved to see more attacking options, really.
Well, in terms of AK-47, how does Scott Parker manage him from here? Personally, I'd manage him out the door. But we've got him until at least January. I think he's too much of a disruptive influence and he's too unpredictable and too volatile. What do you think, Matt Lampert? Do you think there's a route back into this squad for him?
I think it'll be really tough. I kind of agree with you. He's definitely a little volatile. You just never know what's going to happen. Like I said, against Barnsley, you just didn't know what his touch was going to bring. And the thing is he can finish, as he showed, in our promotion season before Mitro came on board. But ever since then, and then a little bit in the Premier League. But yeah, he's just a bit of a hothead and just unpredictable. I feel like by now he would have established that. And I feel like the guys who have come on, like Knockaert and Caballero, just as a direct comparison, like I feel like they've kind of set the bar, and I don't think AK is near that bar.
Yeah, I agree with you. What about you, Matt Arter? Is there a route back in for Abu?
Yeah, I also agree with you to an extent. We obviously don't know what goes on behind the doors. Obviously, Kamara has kind of this bad boy persona that everyone assumes he has, that he misbehaves, that he's lazy, he fights yoga instructors or whatever happened. But saying that, I think he's a useful player to have. Behind Cavallero and Knockaert, I would probably say he's probably our next best winger, fourth best if we're including Bobby Reid as a winger. So I think he's a useful asset to have. I'd rather him come on than Aite or Cabano, to be honest, because Kamara, he's unpredictable, but he's more of a game changer than other options that we have, I think.
Yeah, I'll take your point. Okay, well, 3 points are in the bag. Reasonable performance as well. It's time to give Scott Parker a rating. Matt Lampett, what would you give Scott Parker out of 10 for the overall performance against Blackburn?
I have to give him, I think an 8 is a solid one. And I think the fact that he brought in Harry Arter right away, I think was a real key. I think he proved that we can have a defensive midfielder kind of sitting in front of the back line. And the fact that he also made his decision in putting Ream and Mawson together. And then from there, just kind of letting the boys work. I think it's going to take a lot of work to get the ball played out of the back the way they're doing with those goal kicks. And the fact that they did it, he mentioned in his post interview that just no fear and be brave. And I think, that kind of reminds me of Slav's mentality, how he used to approach things. And so I'd have to give him an 8 because the results, showed and the players were up for it and they were playing, up to the level that I think is going to satisfy him. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for me.
Fantastic. Okay. And what about you, Statto?
I'd give him a solid 7, I think. We got the win. We got a clean sheet. We played some nice football. I don't think we were at our scintillating best. I think we're still a bit shaky, but I guess that will come with time. I think he's still trying to figure out what his best 11 may be, particularly now we've got quite a few deadline day signings coming in. I think putting Ream and Mawson together so early on in the season is a good move because I think they're probably our best centre-back pairing, and to get them together early on as compared to last year where we were chopping and changing so much is a good move, and I hope we kind of stick with that back four for most of it. He's got a bit of work to do with sorting out the midfield, but I think, just a good performance, and I think it can only improve from here.
Yeah, I kind of agree with everything you both just said, but I'd also give him a 7 as well. I think there's still room for improvement, but you can't argue with 2-0 and 3 points. Okay, great stuff. That covers Blackburn then. Let's go and have a quiz.
Fulham.
All right, guys, so it's Danny Boy's quiz. Listeners at home, you can score a maximum of 26 points, and both of the co-hosts here can score a maximum of 17 points. Ooh. All right, so round 1. It's the 50-50 Focus Challenge. It sounds exciting, but it isn't. We've 2 sets of questions for you. All questions are 50-50 choice, and it's based on Huddersfield versus Fulham. Okay. Question number 1. Which club was established first? Fulham or Huddersfield? Matt Lampett.
Fulham.
And what about you, Matt Arthur?
Were Huddersfield formed before 1879? I'm going to say no, they weren't. Fulham came first.
That's a point to both of you. Fulham were established in 1879 and Huddersfield 1908. Ooh. Good stuff. Okay, question number 2. This is coming to you first, Matt Arthur. Lewis Bowen-Morsay goes down in history as the man who scored the goal to take us to the Premier League for the first time when he scored the winner at Huddersfield in the 2000-2001 season. With the score poised at 1-1, it was yet another dramatic late winner just days after Sean Davis' goal at Blackburn. What minute did Bowen-Morsay score in? It's multiple choice, so is it the 85th minute or the 89th minute?
85th.
Okay, and Matt Lampett, 85th or 89th?
I just did a video on this too the other day. I think it's the 85th.
Both correct again. 2 points each. It was the 85th minute. Well done. Okay, question number 3. Which club did Oliver Norwood make more appearances for? Was it Fulham or was it Huddersfield? Matt Lampett.
Fulham.
Okay, and Matt Arthur?
Huddersfield.
That's a point to Matt Arthur. He made 41 appearances for Fulham and 90 for Huddersfield. That puts Matt Arthur into the lead, 3-2.
Well done.
Okay, question number 4. Remember Pentygate at the Cottage last season? Of course you do. But can you remember why Fulham were awarded a penalty in the first place? Was it handball or shirt pulling? Matt Arthur.
I think it was shirt pulling.
Okay, and Matt Lampett?
I think it was handball.
Matt Lampett has equalised. It's 3-3. It was handball. 3-3. Okay. Next question. So this is question number 5. Which club made more signings this summer? Matt Lampett. Was it Fulham or Huddersfield?
Fulham.
Okay, and Matt Arthur?
Fulham.
That's no points for either of you, I'm afraid. And I don't know if Danny means for me to read this out, but I'm going to read it out anyway because it made me laugh. Huddersfield made more. Don't worry about the figures. Huddersfield just made more, okay? Take my word for it, because different sites state different figures, but they all have Huddersfield having more. End of. Okay, question.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Question number 6. In the match in which Fulham beat Huddersfield to gain promotion in 2000-2001, who scored Fulham's other goal? Was it Barry Hales or Louis Saha? Matt Lampett.
Barry Hales.
Okay, and Matt Arthur?
Saha.
It was Louis Saha. It was a penalty.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, question number 7. Who scored more set pieces last season, Fulham or Huddersfield? Matt Arthur.
Oh, well, Huddersfield barely scored any goals, but then we barely scored set pieces. Just going to say Huddersfield purely for the fact that they scored a set piece against us.
They did, yeah. Okay, and what about you, Matt Lampett? Who scored more set pieces, Fulham or Huddersfield?
Trying to think we didn't have many goal scorers. Neither did they. I'm going to say Huddersfield.
You're both correct. That's a point each.
Did we even score a set piece last year?
Well, we scored 5.
What?
And Huddersfield scored 9. The penalties count as a set piece.
They must do, surely.
Yeah, maybe. Fulham scored the least set pieces in the entire league, and Huddersfield were the lowest scorers overall. Okay, question number 8. This is the last question of this round. In 68 meetings in all competitions, incredibly, the clubs are only separated by 1 goal. Both teams have won 25 each, and there's been 16 draws, with one side scoring 94 goals in total, the other 93. Who's got the slight edge? Matt Lampett. Is it Fulham or Huddersfield?
Fulham.
And Matt Arthur?
I'd also say Fulham.
You're both right. Fulham have got 94, Huddersfield have got 93. Okay, that's the end of the first round, and Matt Arthur leads by 6 points to 5.
Oh.
Yeah, super close. Okay, so round 2, this is Focus Fortunes. You both get 5 guesses. Last season in the Premier League, Slavs Fulham lost the battle of the shittest in a 1-0 defeat at the John Smith Stadium. The other 10 players who started for the White... Sorry, I'll read that bit again. Mitro led the line, but who were the other 10 players in the starting lineup? And I'm going to come to you first, Matt Arthur.
Sergio Rico.
Rico is correct. 1 point to you. Matt Lampett.
Andre Schürrle.
That is a point to you. Schürrle is one of them. Correct. Matt Arthur.
Fosu Mensah.
TFM. Correct. Point to you.
Tom
Matt
Kearney.
Lampett. Tom Kearney did play. Correct. That's another point to you. Matt Arthur.
Did Vieto play?
Are you asking me or are you telling me?
I'm telling you. Vieto played.
You get a point. Well done, mate. Good stuff. And Matt Lampett.
I want to say Seri.
Seri, you get a point for Seri as well. Well done. Okay, now we're getting to the nitty-gritty. Matt Arthur.
Alright, so Fosu Mensah played right back, left back. Cess?
Correct. You get a point for Cess. Well done, mate. And Matt Lampett?
Did Adoy?
God, you two are on fire here. Well done. So that is 4 guesses each. This is your last guess, Matt Arter. You've got full marks so far.
Okay.
You are
so
missing
far,
2 players between you.
Mitro and Vieto up top. Kenny was playing. Seri was playing. So was it either K-Mac or Anguissa that would have been defensive mid? I'm going to say Anguissa.
You've got a point for Anguissa.
Yes.
Well done.
Well
think,
done.
if I remember correctly, K-Mac came on and then went off again injured.
Did it?
I think he might have done, yeah.
I think you're right.
Okay, and Matt Lampett, you've got 1 guess left.
Oh.
It was centre back.
Yeah.
Which one was it? Oh no. I want to say Mawson.
Sorry, mate. It was Maxime Le Marchand.
No.
Yeah.
Down to Maxime. It was Adoy and Maxime Le Marchand. Is that really who we had?
Yeah, it was, yeah. So the full lineup was Rico. The full lineup was Rico, Sessegnon, Le Marchand, Adoy, Fosu-Mensah, Anguissa, Seri, Kearney, Vieto, Schürrle, and Mitrovic. McDonald and Christie came on at half-time. Johansson came on in the 65th minute. Joe Bryan was injured. So there you go.
That's why I got sacked. Put in Marchand and Adoy together.
So Matt Lampett, you have 9. Matt Lampett, you have 9 points.
Right.
And Matt Arter, you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 points. And we're going into the last round, which is the Guess the Player round. So if you get it, or if you get the player from the first fact, you get 8 points. From the second fact, you get 7 points. Third fact, 6 points. Blah, 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 all the way down to fact 8, where you get 1 point. Okay, so we get straight into it. Fact number 1. He is 28 years old. Shout your name out. Shout your surname out if you want to guess.
Arter.
Go on. But hang on.
Oh.
If you guess, then you only get 1 guess, so you're frozen out.
Oh,
okay.
So you sure you want to use up your guess on he is 28 years old?
Okay. Undo.
Okay. Fact number 2, he's a midfielder.
all right.
Fact number 3,
I'm going to guess.
Go on, Matt.
28. I just looked at this too the other day. Tom Kearney.
Okay. Tom Kearney, you're frozen out.
Frozen.
Okay, so fact number 3, he made 8 appearances for the club. Fact number 4, he is best known by his first name as opposed to his surname. Fact number 5.
Arter.
Okay, go on.
Jozabed.
Okay, you're frozen out with Jozabed. Fact number 5, he signed in 2016. Fact number 6, to date, Fulham are his only club outside of Spanish soil.
Oh.
Fact number 7, he was the first Spanish player to play for the club. Fact number 8, he currently plays for Celta Vigo. Matt Arter, you are correct. Jozabed Sanchez Ruiz. Well done,
The
mate.
man, the myth, the legend.
He's the best.
Top marks to you.
Congrats on winning with Jozabed. That's excellent.
Good stuff. So the plaudits go to Matt Arter this week. Well done, mate. All right, that's the end of the show this week. Us 3 Matts will be back on Thursday to look ahead to Friday night's match at Huddersfield. In the meantime, remember to check us out on fulhamfocus.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to the podcast via all your usual channels. If you like what you hear, give us a cheeky little 5-star rating on your podcast app of choice. Thank you to the Matts for joining me this week and to you for listening. And remember to bask in the glory of the Whites' lovely 3 points this week. Cheers.